Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Matthew Brodsky. I'm a Division I track and field athlete for Stony Brook University in Stony Brook, Long Island, New York. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I just want to talk about some recruitment tips and things that you should be doing to help get your name out there. And if you want to go D1, try to go D1 and get attention of colleges and just do's and don'ts, basically. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So we're on TFRS right now because that'll bring me to the first point, which I think is the most important thing, which would be look at TFRS. You have to understand the type of runner you are and like the level you're at, and you have to find colleges based on your time to see if you can fit into their program. You don't want to just be emailing schools that are either too slow or way too fast for you, because that's, kind of pointless at the end of the day. So I kind of tried to get something where I wrote down three types of runners. So you have runner A, runner B, runner C. And for runner A, I have someone who runs from like the 150 to 152 range. Now, I kind of kept it at this range because this is the range that I was technically at in high school. And also, I feel like if you're running under 150 in high school, you're probably going to go anywhere really in the country. Like, not that hard to find a place to go to because there's not that many guys in high school who break 150, so you're probably going to be able to go wherever you want. Yeah, so I started off with a 150 to 152 guy. Now, there's two ways that you could kind of go about this. You could either A, look at the conferences and look at what they ran. So, for example, right now I'm in the CAA conference, which is the conference that Stony Brook's in. And what I do is I go to the outdoor performance list of 2026. And if I'm looking for the 800, you can choose the quick links. I click on 800 right here. And I'm at the 800 men. So I see 6 guys broke 150, right? But, I see that if I'm a 150 to 152 guy, let's say I run 150, I'm looking at being 7th to 8th in the conference. So that's a great start. You're like, hey, if I'm 7th to 8th in the conference, that means I could probably score points for this team. And that's something that is really crucial to any team because the main thing they want is to score points in conference and obviously have good runners. So if you're running like 150, 152, you can see, hey, I fit in well here. So let's see if I went to the Northeast Conference or the NEC, right? Let's see, they're 800 guys. Okay, if I'm a 150 guy, I could be winning this conference. So maybe this isn't a conference for me. Maybe this conference is a little bit weaker than what I need, right? If I'm a 150 guy, even if I'm a 151 guy, you're third, fourth in the conference. 152, you're eighth, ninth, like you're in that general range. So that's a little bit better, but not crazy. Going back to the CAA now, being like a 151, 152 guy, right? If you're 151, you're gonna be in like the 17 range, right? And then 152, you're going to be down into like the 20s and stuff like that. So again, that's not like that bad, obviously. It is hard to find a school like strictly based off of just doing this, but it's a good place to start to kind of indicate whether or not you are good enough to run in this conference. So that's for runner A. For runner B, I have 153 to 155. I think that's like one type of runner you have, 153, 155. So again, looking at that, if you're a 153, 155 guy, you're looking at this, you're like, if you're the higher end of that runner, you're not really going to be able to get into like the CAA as much. Is it possible? Yeah, it's still gonna be possible if you're emailing schools and if you show promise as an athlete and stuff like that. Like 153 in high school is still really, really good. And obviously, you're still going to be top 25 in the conference as a high schooler. You have to also understand that you're doing all this coming out of high school with no college training. So it's still good. Like, being in the top 25 is what you're going to mainly want. Obviously, if you're in like the top like 15, that's like more just solidifies your chances of getting on this team. Being in the top 25 is just a great start in general. Being in that 153, 155 range, if you're at the, I guess, better end of it, 153, you could definitely run in a conference like this. Looking at a conference like the American East now, which I didn't show in the beginning, but really good conference. Obviously, you have some fast guys here. Number 25 is a 153.3, which is quite similar to the CAA. And, it's also like a very similar range where, you see a CAA, you see the American East are quite similar, and you could probably fit into either one of those as like in runner A, like 150, 152. 153, 155, it's still possible to fit in because you still would be in like the top 25. If you're on the slower side of that, though, being like a 154, 155 guy, then you kind of have to look maybe a little bit elsewhere, or you have to look at the teams in the conference because that also does a lot. Because obviously, you could have a team that's just maybe has one guy who runs a certain time and the rest are a little bit slower. you could fit in. Which brings me to my next point is actually finding teams. So, for example, I'm just gonna obviously just look at Stony Brook because, I mean, why wouldn't I, right? So you're gonna go on to the school, find the school, click on top performances, make sure you're looking at the outdoor season that just ended, or at least indoors. But usually outdoors is better because people run faster outdoors. So you're gonna scroll down to what you need to find. So we're down to the 800. What we have 3 guys running 151, another guy running 152, another guy running 153, and then 154. So if I'm a high school athlete and I'm looking at this, I think what I tried to do was I wanted to be either be able to be the third best guy or the fourth best guy on the team, like at a minimum. You want to be the third or fourth best guy on the team when you're looking at college, because why would they take someone who would be like the fifth best on their team, especially if they have returners? So obviously, like for us, our team is really young. You see all freshmen, a sophomore, and then a senior. So all these guys are going to be on the team next year. You want to be definitely like the 3 or like the 4 range. So you want to be anywhere between 153 and 151. Like you want to be like a 152 guy or 153 low guy if you were to try to email a school like Stony Brook, right? So that would put you in runner A. If you're a 150 to 152 guy, you should want to try to go to a school like this because you're like, okay, especially if you're in like the middle to slower side, like if you're the 150, 152 guy, if you're a 151 guy, you have 3 other guys who are young, are still running the same times as you. If you're a 152 guy, you have guys in front of you that can push you. If you're a 150 guy, I can understand like, okay, you know, I'd be the best on this team, so I don't know. But then you look at the conference is very good, so the conference can still push you and things like that. If you're a runner B, which is 153, 155, this is probably be like a little bit harder for you to get into. If you're a 153 low guy, it's definitely possible. 154, 155, it's gonna be harder for these college coaches to want to take you in because they already have guys who are faster than that, like a lot of guys who are faster than that. So something you should look at. If you're a runner B, I think a good school, and this is just like, this is one school from one conference. There's so many schools that are very similar, and this video would be really, really long if I went through all of them, and I'm trying not to make it too long, but trying to like run through this. And like something like Stonehill, right? Again, 2026 outdoor top performances, go to the 800. So if you're like runner B, you're running 153, 155, this is a great spot for you. You have a guy who's like a little bit faster than you, he's a freshman. You have guys who are exactly in your range, and you're gonna be like you're gonna be like the third best guy on the team. That's perfect. That's a school you'd want to try to find. That's a school you want to try to email and all that stuff. I didn't really get to runner C that much, which is 156 and 159. But if you're in that range, again, same thing I just talked about before. Look at the conference results, look at all that stuff. But if I had to give a suggestion for someone who's like a 156, 159 guy, you know, what should you be looking for? I'd probably go back into the NEC and maybe look at a school like Wagner College, which is also in the NEC. Let's look at it real quick. Okay, so now that we're on Wagner, you can see 155, 156, 202. I mean, they're not really a big 800 school, but if you're running 156, 159, that's pretty good spot for you. You know, you'd be like the third best on the team, second best on the team. It's not bad. Again, there's so many schools you could look at, and this would be a really long video if I tried to find every single school that all these runners would fit into. But that's kind of just like the basis of how to use TFRRS and why you should be using TFRRS and how important it is to use TFRRS, because if you don't fit into the school time-wise, it's going to be really hard to get into that school just based off of a pretty email. But that brings me to my next point, emails. What to say, who to send it to, and how often should you be emailing? This is a question that I know a lot of my old high school teammates ask me, and it's something that I think a lot of kids get wrong. And I think to start off, the most important thing in my opinion is how often and who. So this is the Stony Brook track and field athletics page, right? I just scroll down to coaches, and these are our coaches, right? So if I'm trying to email a school, I'm going to put every single coach into this email, unless they're like a throws coach or a coach that's like completely just out of your realm of like what you do, right? So I would put all these coaches in email, right? And it's really easy to find emails. Just click full bio and their email's right there. Just copy and paste it. Super, super simple. Put all the coaches in there, because a lot of times the head coach does not read their email. That's usually not their job to read emails. It's usually assistant coaches. But again, I've had head coaches respond to me. I've had the head coaches not respond to me. It kind of just depends. But I've always put every single one, and you just say, dear, all their last name. I'll actually show you. Okay, so I'm on my email now, and obviously you could see, I just typed in track and field recruitment because that's usually what I made the subject in all my emails. That's just what I did. Obviously you see I've sent out a decent amount of emails. I think personally, even like I really didn't send out enough. I think that's also another thing you need to make sure you're sending out a lot of emails. You need to be sending out a lot of emails to a lot of schools weekly, definitely weekly. You need to be updating these schools with times that you're running. If you're PRing, you want to update them. And what should your email say is a big question I get a lot, because a lot of people like putting a lot of useless information into their emails. I'm just gonna click on one of these. This is one email that I sent to someone, and I put, "Hey Coach Anderson and Ferguson," because those are the two coaches that they have on their roster that are similar to what I have, like to what I run. Like that's their level of expertise, right? So I just put, I put my name, I put what year of school I'm going into, where I'm located. I just put that I run cross country, indoor, outdoor. So as an 800 runner, it's a little bit more important, because if you run, like some 800 runners run cross, some don't. And that could tell a coach something if they're actually interested in you. Like, okay, he ran cross and whatever. So I put what seasons I run, and then I put that my school's in the CHSA track league in New York City. To be honest, looking back, like that wasn't really that necessary, but because I already say that Staten Island, New York, and all that stuff, but that's not too bad either. While researching for colleges and looking at your team, I think it could be a good fit for you. That's something that's like nice to say. It doesn't have to be said. If you don't put that if you don't put something like that, like a short sentence in your email, that's fine. But I think it's like a nice thing to have. And then the most important thing, your times. You want to put your times relatively close to the top, because who cares about track and field without times, right? I mean, at the end of the day. So I just put my open PRs and then relays. So the big thing is colleges don't really care about relay splits, especially 400 down. They don't really matter that much because they're so much faster in your open times. I still put my relay splits sometimes, or not sometimes, every time I put relay splits, but a lot of times my open was faster until like indoors, and like sometimes I did run faster on splits, but most of the time I just put my open times, and I would put my splits if they're like definitely like a little bit close, but college don't really care about relay splits. Put open times for sure, 100%, and you could put splits as well, but make sure it's open times and then splits. I put my goals, which I think are really important. You should put your goals because it shows what you're striving to do, and if you do end up hitting them, you reply back and things like that. Academically, what you have, what's your average, what's your GPA, that stuff. I put my coach's name and email just in case they want to hit him up. Usually I don't think they ever did, but I just did that. And I think this thing at the end here, I'd love to hear more about your program, and who knows, maybe it could be a future something, whatever mascot they are. That's what I did to show that the email is personalized, right? It's not just a copy and paste email, which I mean it is, but at the end, it's a nice little thing to put a mascot or whatever mascot they are or something like that, because it shows that you know what school you're emailing and things like that. So again, email not too long, not too short. It tells you everything you need to know, and I introduce myself, and that's what matters, right? Sometimes I get emails back, sometimes I don't get emails back, but that's what you should be doing. And you should be, again, keep emailing a bunch of schools. Keep re-emailing schools. That's a big thing. Just because you email school one time your junior year doesn't mean you stop emailing them. Email them again. If you run a lot faster, especially, email them again. You never know who can respond. So yeah, that's all I have about the emails. Now these next three are not crazy big points I'm gonna take a lot of time to go into because they're quite simple things, but you should, one, look at the head coach's specialty. Now, it's not really on here as much, like what our head coach's specialty is. I mean, I know his specialty because, I run for the team, but a lot of times schools will have their specialty like listed next to them. So make sure you look at that, because you don't want to be a mid-distance guy who goes to a school that has a head coach that is maining in like long jumping and multis. That's not really going to work for you, because a lot of times the structure of the program revolves around the head coach. So make sure you're looking at what the head coach specializes in, because that's going to matter a lot to your training. The second thing I have here is DMing people on the team. I never did this personally when I was getting recruited, but now being a college athlete, I don't think it's a bad idea whatsoever, because I know that if I got a DM from an athlete and he was looking to like join the team and he was really interested and his times are pretty solid, I would definitely let my coach know. And I know, at least me personally and our team, we have a really good relationship with our coach who trains us, and I've told him to look into kids and try to recruit kids because I think they're going to be good, or maybe he just didn't see them on MileSplit, because you have to remember there's a lot of kids on MileSplit, there's a lot of kids on Athletic Net, and the coach is not going to see every single person. That's why you have to make your name known. So like I've definitely done that, and I've been like, hey, I've seen this kid run fast, and I think maybe you should look into him, recruit him. And a lot of times your coach is not going to tell you no. He'll say okay, he'll look into it, and if it's a flop, it's a flop, and if it hits, it hits. You know, like it's pretty simple. And the third thing that I have to say, which is really important but super simple, be mindful of what you post on social media. I've been told from my coach that was recruiting someone. He saw that this person was posting some stuff about like partying and all this stuff. He stopped recruiting that person. I don't think you guys understand how much social media actually matters. Don't post a picture of you with a drink in your hand, and make sure you're not posting you with a drink in your hand constantly, like 3 posts in a row, things like that. Don't post about you partying. That's the main thing, right? Coaches do not want to go onto your Instagram and see parties. Those are my 5 tips on how to get recruited to go D1 in college track and field. I really hope that you guys, listen to the video, take something out of it, because I'm just telling you from my experience what I went through, things I wish I could have done better, and just things that I know from inside college and being an athlete already, and talking to my coach, having a good relationship, what he's kind of looking for and things like that. So I really hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope you guys can take something out of it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope I see you guys in the next one. Peace out.